Okay, awesome. All right, so audio check. I'm not sure. Probably no one out there listening quite yet, but we're doing some checking before we get started. And so here's my level. Joe, can we hear you? And let me see you on my meter. Huh. Okay. Maybe then you can? Okay, good. All right. Yeah, can hear you just fine. All right. What's that? Yeah, it's echoing through Nick's. Yeah. All right, Pon. All right, Pon. Can we hear you and see you on the levels? Yes, I can. How does she sound on stream there, Nick? All right, let's see here. Okay, let me. All right, give me just a few moments. All right, gonna switch over to the faces real quick. And let's see if I can. Okay. Now let's see if you're going to hear Pon. Pon, can we hear you on stream here? Awesome. Let's see, could you hear her, Nick?
Yes, there's a bit of an echo for you.
Interesting. Okay. Let's see here. There should not be. Huh. There shouldn't be. I have these all headphones over here. Okay.
Fill the room with your voice.
All right. Okay. DL, how about you? Let's hear and check out your levels.
All right, check me out. How am I?
You are beautiful. Wunderbar.
Is this wonderful?
This is indeed wonderful. All right. Let's see here. Joe, how about you? Let's hear you. Check your levels.
Yep, this is me. Checking these levels now.
All right. Nick, so far, is anyone louder than anybody else?
Am I louder than you?
Well, no. Just whatever you can hear. Is anybody too loud or too quiet so far on the stream? On Twitch.
For me, I'm not a good judge of myself. You're a little louder than everyone else.
Okay, I can bring everybody else up. And Bri, let's check and hear from you. Check your levels.
What are these, rat pelts? I am very interested in buying some of these rat pelts.
Nice. All right. And next for Nick.
I think we could crank everyone together up a little.
Okay. Actually going to bring you down a little bit. You're a little bit louder than everybody else, at least on my end.
Yeah, I'm maybe a little louder than others.
And you said everybody else needs to come up? All right. On the count of three, everybody can just say hello or anything else. So 1, 2, 3, we'll all sound off and get everybody's sound at the same time. Not super loud, just sort of just a tone or anything. So 1, 2, 3, hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hello. Check.
When did this turn into Tibetan monks?
Just now.
When the saints go marching in,
And scene. Awesome. Nick, anything stand out there?
That was great. Maybe everyone just talk to each other for a second.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So we'll just kind of talk and chill. We're excited to be doing this. How's everybody doing? Pon, how you doing?
I'm doing wonderful. I had a very productive and joyous weekend, and I'm currently posting a little social media post for the launch of our game.
Yay! Heck yeah! Does
Does
anybody have any other questions before we jump into it? We got about 10 minutes left before we're gonna officially go live. Introduce ourselves.
My character's like all the way down at the bottom. DM, I don't know if you want to pull that character up.
All right. Let me get back over here. All right. So into
ECKS X.
X. All right.
Changed my tag in game in Roll20 so that when I roll, it'll roll as X.
Oh, that's a good call out.
Nice.
Do that.
Indeed.
All right. Let's see here. Bri, your character name again, so I can move them.
Lokag Unalaki Galakanathi.
Lokag. Having trouble finding Lokag.
He's in Bri's characters.
He's right below High Keg.
He's the other keg.
Does anyone else have Twitter handles?
Not seen him.
No,
I do.
Technically, yes.
Twitter or Twitch?
Or just X. I was gonna. I always tweet before I go live. So.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I'm not an X man.
I think we are in good shape. I'm gonna go ahead and mute us on mics, and the stream starting screen is now up. And let's see here. Yeah. All right. So, got a couple of notes here to double check with. Let's see here. So I went back and got everybody's notes on some of your level 10's activities. If I miss a beat or I start to, or you really want to make sure I get something in there, you can go ahead and message me about it now, or in the moment is fine too. But you all, I really am really excited. Thank you all for being a part of this and working together on all the different things that it takes to get here, helping with the different tech aspects of it, and in general, just doing the work to make this happen. I'm like super excited, and so we're gonna play some D&D. We're gonna have some people watching, maybe have some interaction with it, and do our best to play a good game of D&D. Remember that we have an audience, and to kind of showcase what we think is most entertaining or interesting or exciting about the session for them, to bring attention to it. So you can get as loud as you want if somebody rolls a nat 20 or a nat 1. In general, the way I run the game is, when we're in combat, you can speak out of turn. You just have to keep it short. I generally do like initiative for roleplay, exploration, and combat, as you all know. And again, there's definitely room to sort of jump in on somebody else's turn and talk to them. But I really want to watch that and be careful with that and make sure people have their room to shine and get ideas out. As we all know, especially if the spotlight's on us, it can take a minute for the stuff to get from our brain to our mouth. And if we're really excited and we hop in too quick, we might derail somebody else's character moment, something they're adding to the game. So that's just something I wanted to mention to everybody. And interesting, very interesting. Okay.
Yes.
Checkity check, check, check.
It might not be coming through Twitch.
I heard you.
Channel, so we'll try it
No,
this way.
I had the little earpiece on. I could hear you.
Okay.
Here we go.
Is that better?
Yeah, I think you're fine.
Okay. Well, now we know. So I'll just start over again. Hello, Mythlanders, and welcome to our official season of Goblinstone. I'm DM Feanor. I'm a professional game master. I'm a writer and storyteller, and philosopher, swordsman, hopeful dreamer, and hopeless geek. And these are the Mythlanders. These are some players from my tables. In no certain order. I think, let's see, we got faces up. All right, we've got Jay Fink. We have Darth Loquitur. We have Pon Pon. We have Nick Beat. And Big Bry Little Fry. And we are going to be playing through Goblinstone, as I said. It's a sort of short campaign / long module that I've been working on for a few years. I've run it several times, and I'm happy to sort of share it with you all and use this as a jungle gym for our players to play on and wreak havoc and tell amazing stories. Let's see here. So, introduced. Let's see here. Okay. So yeah, we're all excited to be here. I'm excited to present all of this, and I'm happy to bring players from these different tables that I run throughout the week together, and have some shenanigans. Now, I had thought about some long introductions and asking some surprise questions to everybody, but I think that we'll maybe save that for our break or toward the end of the session, once we've sort of inspired you viewers to get to know us and baited your interest. So unless anybody else has any other players have any questions, we'll go ahead and jump right into it.
I'm good.
Let's go.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, so we will be adventuring in a world that is very young. It is a world that is not quite distinct from the other worlds. Early on, perhaps in the creation of this magical world, myth and history are one and the same, and it's a simple step or an accidental fall from one world to the other. In a vast set of rolling plains, plains of Urbal, a site once of a powerful Firbolg empire, which was smashed by a group of fey creatures from the Feywild known as the Tuatha De Danann, powerful demigod-like hero warriors that smashed this empire and drove it, and of course the Firbolg, into solitude. It is the great city on the hill. It is perhaps the first city from which all other cities take their design and inspiration. It is a place for all peoples. It is ruled by half-elves, but they have no higher status in the city than others. People generally have their status by the value of what is brought into the city itself, how much the city is served by people's actions. It is, but the plains themselves are a vast rolling green, just peppered here and there with small forests and like rocky outcroppings, lakes, streams and rivers. It is a city on a massive river that leads to the sea, so there's much trade in the city. And from the top of the hill, which is ringed in the sort of inner wall of the city, rolling all the way down the hills and out into the plain, the city tumbles down the hill. A chaotic, in most places, mishmash of different buildings, styles, architecture, and different levels of repair. Staring out over the city itself, the rolling hills, and the busy, busy river full of ships loading and unloading goods, is of course the city center. And above the flat stone, gray stone walls, stands out several shapes. One, and the most obvious, as it reflects much light, are the rose quartz towers of the quartz palace, the home of the nobility that has cared for and sort of brought Arabelle through the ages. There are the very sort of rough, flat-topped, squared towers of the College Arcane. A bright silvery gray battlements, a fortress-like court of arms, and the towering and shining Tower of Ogma. Its square sides reflecting light, as well as the windows themselves blasting out color across the city from the colored glass windows and the vibrant and bright rituals that happen inside. Now, it is a beautiful day in early spring. It is an azure sky. Large, sort of cottony clouds roll lazily across the sky in the early morning. And it is market day. It's or high market day, perhaps. Once a month, many people gather into the various squares, line the streets, and take over the dock area, selling all sorts of goods, either made in the city, brought by magic from other places, or brought by ship and wagon from other lands. And that is where we are going to start our adventure. Let me go ahead and bring up our turn order box. And everyone can go ahead and highlight their tokens and roll initiative.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. Okay, some of these don't have name plates on them. I'll fix that later. So I'm going to be getting familiar with your token art very quickly. Okay, pawn can go before you. It's like we didn't get Nick's in the order, I don't think. You're Kankerfoot, right? No, that can't be right. Cliff. Why does it say Kankerfoot?
Oh yeah, that's not Cliff. Thank you. I clicked it and made it roll, but it rolled a 14 there, but I guess it didn't add it to the list.
Okay, yeah. Well, I got you.
There we go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me make sure. All right. Make sure it has the view. Checking our stream view. All right. So bring us over to the market. Now, viewers may not be able to see all of the square, but I will move it around as things develop. All right. So amidst the bustling streets, you each make your way into the square for your own reasons. Some of you perhaps simply perusing for goods, others looking to meet specific people to make deals. And we'll start with Lokag. As you've sort of brushed your way in, it's pretty easy for you to crowd walk. People tend to move out of your way pretty easily and sort of feel you coming. So as Lokag moves across the old worn stones, the statue of Artemisia standing over the square itself, just inside the circled wagons of some of the merchants. What's Lokag doing? Oh, looks like you're muted, Bri. Mm-hmm. Well, it's not so much a shop. Pon, how would you describe it? So that is the place that Lokag approaches.
In this city.
Not to interrupt, but it says that we can only hear the dungeon master.
Oh my goodness. All right. Thank you.
It's fixed now.
Okay, it's fixed now. Sorry about that, gang. Let's step back a bit. So, Lokag, as you're moving through the square, sort of looking around at various goods, there's one in particular that draws your eye. It's a very sad, sort of shanty-looking lean-to made of rough sticks and tattered cloth. There are sort of worn and maybe clawed holes here and there in it. You see small pelts and small goods made of these pelts laid out over them. Yeah.
Yes. And I am looking for something for my arms and perhaps my head.
Yes, well, that is easily accommodatable because they are the perfect size, especially for it looks like you want a big one for those forearms, I think, yes. She grabs a few hanging off a line, straps one to the side with some twine she has in a pouch, wraps it around a few times, bites it off. Then she sticks one on his head, does the same thing but ties a nice little bow underneath his chin, and then proceeds to do the same to the other arm. What do you think? I think it's my best.
As he feels the new bracers and his hat, he says, "Oh, are these the biggest rats that you have?"
Well, for you, I like you. I do, because you like rats, and not many people know how to respect them properly. For you, she goes and there's a sad little, if you want to call it a trunk, it's a box, and there's nothing really keeping it shut permanently, but she kind of slides the lid off it and pulls out what is probably a terrifyingly large rat pelt. I don't know, probably at least 20 inches by, I don't know, let's say, what is that, 30? You guys can't tell, but it's 30 inches, why not? 20 by 30 inch rat pelt. What do you think? This one, his name was Charlie. You have to
This would be perfect.
What are you going to use it for?
I want Charlie for my head. Yes, he can hang down like a small cape.
Oh.
Now this is the size of rat that I look for.
What a perfect place of honor for Charlie. He was most dear to me. Well, you're gonna pay me for all this, yeah?
Oh yes, I have money. Do not worry.
All right. She hands it over. I think that your personal tie is up to you. Plus, I'm out of twine, so.
How much all of this come for?
Oh, what do you got?
Well, I have 5 gold.
That sounds perfect.
Lokag is gonna hand over all 5 gold. So, yes, thank you. I am very happy with this. This will make me blend in, yes?
I don't know about that, but you have made me rich, and that is all I care about in this moment. Thank you. Now leave my shop.
Excellent. Wonderful wares. And so Lokag will continue to just saunter around the market, and that's kind of what he's doing. Although now he's out of money, but that's okay.
Nice. All right, taking care of something here in the background. Now, you probably don't give too much notice to the person that you're talking to, Lokag. But as you all are making your deals, you do notice a sort of well-dressed, looks maybe like a clerk or maybe some sort of apprentice wizard or something. She's sort of toting a young boy with sort of vacant expression on his face. It's showing him different stalls. You've seen her a few times. She pauses with a very distasteful look as she watches the deal made. And you both can hear her muttering, "Now, Oliver, this is the type of people that we stay away from." And sort of jerks the boy onward. Here's something about the chosen one. The boy just nods mutely as they are sort of tugged off to the side. But you don't see anything really strange about the appearance of the woman. Let's see here. Sorry, getting back to juggling all these tokens. All right. Next in the order is Millie. So what is Millie doing in the square?
So, Millie's in the square, not of her own volition. She was prior in the square of her own volition.
And then,
Having attempted stealing a belt of remarkable design and quality.
yes, the Arabelle guards did not like that. They seem to be interested in having a discussion with Millie about the nature of ownership and possession, and how those rules are enforced. She has some very uncomfortable steel shackles around her wrist at the moment. They haven't taken you off anywhere. They seem to be they've brought you over to another cluster of guards. It seems like they're waiting for a patrol to come through to turn you over to the patrol to bring you into the precinct or local jail.
I know most of the guards by now, or they know me.
Indeed.
Because I've been on these streets for many years now. Not usually going after things this intriguing.
Can't help what catches your eye. And one of the guards, Gural, a very old dwarf, sees you sort of just watching at the square, not really trying to escape. And he says, "Now, no one's coming to help you. And we made sure to get a finer pair of shackles. Just for today. You're the first one that gets to wear them." The other guards sort of chuckle at the honor. Indeed. But you've had some time to, you're not doing much at the moment. So you're watching people come and go. And you see something you don't see every day for certain. Definitely a dragonborn, either brassy or bronze. It's hard to tell. You detect maybe could be copper. It's a very bright day, so the light is hitting this figure pretty intensely here and there. But it can only be there's only one person you've heard of that's seen often, and that's a woman named Uma Zmija, a paladin. She seems, moves into the square. You spot her squatting down and speaking to that woman selling. You know Helena, the rat, the crazy rat lady. You see, Uma squats down and seems to have a moment, pressing something into Helena's hands. Seems to say something important to her and wanders off. As you watch over the next little while, she kind of makes her way over to the fountain, sitting on the edge of it, or standing on the edge of it, looking around. You can make an insight check for Millie. Now you recognize Uma from a small band that she is known to travel with from time to time. An adventuring band, a band of heroes. There's some great feats that have been attributed to them.
It'll be only a 5 on that insight.
Okay. She seems to be looking for someone, or maybe just be tense. But you know that paladins, knights, and Arabelle's soldiers can be pretty stiff-backed, so it's hard to say.
I've only met one really good one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, one.
But you are able to, okay, yeah. Yeah, perhaps just one. You see another member, the elf Hester, and her famous whip. But yeah, again, she seems to sort of be wandering the northern end of the square, and you get the feeling that she's looking for somebody, but it's hard to tell. Most of the tales from people that know Hester says she kind of plays her cards close to her vest. But you know the movements of somebody expecting something, looking for somebody, so you kind of can see that on her as she moves back and forth. Then you see the equally famous Hardy Cart, a singing, perhaps, rogue and some other skills. You can see some people sort of watching Hardy Cart as if, expecting something from him. You've seen all sorts of surprises from Hardy Cart, but often he'll sing or maybe buy treats for like the other urchins and such. And he sort of catches your eye, looks down at your wrist, sort of bound, the chain going from your wrist to the belt of one of the other guards.
And a shrug. It's not the first time. It's not the last time, probably. Hardy knows our gang of street kids pretty well. Just helped us in a few situations. Knows that life can be hard.
Indeed, yeah. Hardy's been around quite a bit. As he looks at you, his nose sort of twitches to the side, making his whiskers sort of dance in the breeze a little bit. He gestures subtly with his fingers really low, sort of around his belt, as if he's looking for something. But you know hand speech when you see it. Do you understand what Hardy's saying?
I do.
Okay. I do owe you a favor. Keep that left hand open, is what the gestures tell you.
Just stand left hand open, kind of shaded by the other as much as you can in manacles.
Okay. And sure enough, after about 10 minutes of talking to, of getting some coffee, speaking to the people that own the place, it's, where am I here? Oh yeah. A woman named, it's a halfling brother and sister, you think? It's hard to tell. They look a lot alike, so, but he's talking to Mim, buying some coffee, and then he wanders off and makes a sort of slow circuit and comes back up like to the northern wall along the blacksmithy and around toward the heraldry shop, right through your position. Let's step over to Cliff. Now, Cliff, if I'm not mistaken, you're in the square because you have someone to meet, isn't that right?
Indeed. He's looking for the Maker. That's all he knows. He's called the Maker. He's got this pistol for me. I'm very excited about it.
Okay. Now, how well do you know, how long have you been in Arabelle? How well do you know the people here?
I would be, he's a bounty hunter, so ideally he'd be someone who,
okay.
He's, kind of urban bounty hunter sort of background, hunts
Sure.
down people, he sees them in the shackles. It's just like, oh, it's a Tuesday, kind of knows a little bit about the criminals and, probably a few of them he's grabbed and
Sure.
thrown in, along with Melly.
Yeah.
That's kind of how he makes his living. But he goes out and about. A lot of times people, try to run off into the forest and hide, and he'll hunt them down.
Absolutely. Probably also go to ground in the sewers and such too. And so you might have spoken, you might know Millie and Millie's gang of friends. You very likely are aware, know this of at least this group of adventurers and heroes. You might not know them directly.
Yeah,
by description and sight, you would recognize. Well, that's Hardycart. That's Hester. Wow, they're all here. And you can kind of see a lot of about half the people. It seems like kind of know who they are, and it's a combination of people sort of crowding around them, but also giving them wide berth. So there's like this sort of cluster of people, maybe 10 feet out. Each one of them might have 4 or 10 people at a time, just wanting to talk to them. These are somewhat celebrities of the era, for lack of a better term. So you have a hopeful sort of surge of hope as you spot Phineas. He is a very small fellow, a gnome, a builder, an artificer, a tinker, researcher, and adventurer. And you spot him first kind of coming up around the center of the fountain, the large fountain, which is, of course, a woman, standing in front of a raging dragon, weapons and such just sort of down. And so as he sort of comes around, grabs speaks to Hardycart for a moment, grabs some coffee before Hardycart wanders off. And he clearly seems to be looking for somebody. And you're in the location where you're supposed to meet the Maker. He sort of sees you. He sort of spots you looking around, and kind of cocks his head and makes his way over towards you and says, Cliff?
Oh, well, you're a lot taller than I expected.
Everybody says that.
Well, I'm honored to finally meet you.
Yes.
You are a craftsman that, beyond compare. I've never seen such work. I've only seen 2 of your pieces. They wouldn't even let me touch them.
Well, of course not. But you're very lucky.
I am. I have what you need.
Yes, and I have what you need.
Oh, can I see it?
You can. Let's go somewhere where there's less prying eyes. We don't want you to get mugged later.
Yeah.
We'll have to make it quick, though. Have some work I'm about.
Anything you need. He clutches at his bag, kind of really close, tight to his chest, where he keeps a small gem that he brought for this occasion. He's terrified someone will try to take it, and he kind of looks around nervously, just kind of keeping an eye on people that he doesn't trust people terribly well.
Let's go toward that cluster of guards there. That's decently safe. So you kind of get around the corner from them. Not quite in an alley, but just this little spot between 2 porches. There's several guards nearby, and he pulls out a wooden case and shows you the gleaming lines of an expertly crafted firearm, which is an exceedingly rare device that generally only gnomes and dwarves can create and have, and it's almost unheard of that any non-dwarf or gnome gets their hands on one. So he must like you or see something about you.
I don't know what to say. This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
That's what you say.
He's holding back tears a little bit.
Yeah. Phineas gets a little bit embarrassed, I think, at this, and might be like, well, that's understandable. It's a fine piece of work of mine and one of my best. And I've only ammo. We didn't talk about extra ammunition, but I did include just 12 lead bullets and powder charges already made up for you and measured off. Now that's definitely something you could get replaced. Blasting powder of all sorts is used, and you might even find some of this in the square today. Certainly, the various smiths over there at the square forges should be able to cast bullets of various shapes for you. These are some simple round bullets, though.
Well, these will do. This is going to make my job so much easier. I'm looking around at this place, and there's just everything I could possibly want here. So the only thing that was missing was you.
Well.
He doesn't look at the gnome though. He just looks at he's talking to the pistol. He kind of reaches down to pick it up and sort of looks like kind of sheepishly like is it okay kind of to touch it.
He slides it over to you across the top of the crate, and his fingers rest on it for a moment, like he's like kind of hesitating to let this work of art go, but he finally sort of pulls his finger off of it and then sort of gestures to you for you to take it.
I reach out with the gem under the hand. I palm it and put it down on the table for him to take before I
thank you.
Slowly, carefully pick this pistol up. He holds it like a baby in his arms to get the weight of it. Looks down the barrel of it just to see the straight lines and the curves of this thing. And he probably loses himself in this for a little bit. If you talk to him or you said something, he probably wouldn't hear you. He is enraptured for the next minute looking at this thing.
Yeah. Awesome. So once the business is concluded, Phidias thanks you again and says, he should be able to find him again if you need any other work or, alterations done, he says hopefully. And then makes his way back off toward the coffee carton. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, he just, are there any, does it come with a manual or any tricks I should know?
Oh, no. It's got the cleaning kit. It's got, of course, the ramrod and wicks. And, you shouldn't have to change the wick maybe every 10 shots. It's specially made. It'll burn just long enough, and then it'll go out. It doesn't quite. It's sort of a timed fuse, but it's easy to use. You simply light it, and as I said, it should last through about 5 shots.
Well, I just can't tell you how grateful I am. This is just.
Yes. Thank you. Have a good day, Cliff. It was a pleasure. He sort of, nervously, awkwardly exits the emotionally charged now conversation.
He goes back to an intimate moment with this pistol.
So some of the guards are looking at you like sort of nodding and like sort of trying to get a view of it.
Hides it.
Another one of the guards is just sort of looking at you, shaking his head, like, as this display of emotion in public is like making the very stoic guards uncomfortable.
He tries to find a place to be alone for a bit.
There's a couple of spots, although it's tough. You're not exactly alone. There's not anyone standing there. There's a couple of like crates and such in the alley where people will pass by, but you can sort of turn to the corner or just set the box in your lap and open it where nobody can see and shut it again, sort of thing. All right. So stepping over to X. What is X doing in the square at this point, at this moment? What has brought him to the market square on the market day?
So we haven't really been doing character descriptions, DM. Are we going to do that later on, or should I describe?
Yeah, please describe. I'm so sorry. I'll come back around and bait y'all the rest of the descriptions out. Thanks for catching me on that.
All right. So X is a wood elf. And if you can imagine what a wood elf might normally look like, they're kind of, colorful, maybe, brown skin and green hair. And X is not like that at all. Imagine that instead somebody painted like a black and white version of it. His hair is gray, his skin is gray. He's like gaunt, way more thin than an elf should be. He looks like kind of a wild man, but, not unkempt like a crazy person, but just like he's living out in the wild.
He's no Helena.
He's got what's that?
He's no Helena basically in his unkempt.
Yeah, he's not quite that tattered, but he's wearing his robes are basically just burlap bags that are sewn together, and dude has tattoos everywhere. Like he's got tattoos on his arms, his legs, his face, his hands. He's just like got every kind of tattoo, and the tattoos are really good. They're not like stupid or bad tattoos. They're really well done, very artistic. So he's like a skinny little walking canvas, this guy.
Okay.
And he's coming out of the wilds because he needs some new tools, and he's looking to, get a new knife over here. He's shopping.
Okay. Well, in the square, to describe the square, let's see if I can zoom back a little bit, and maybe stream viewers will be able to see this a little bit. So it's a strange dimension, so it's kind of popping back and forth, but I think that looks okay. Let me double check. Let's bring it back a little bit. So the square is a large open area. There's that circular fountain in the middle. It's ringed with 2- and 3-story buildings. All of these are shops and such. There is one shop that's devoted to arms and equipment. So in the front window, there is a gleaming suit of plate mail, a heavy crossbow, massive shield. Across the store, through the window, like in the back, behind the counter, you can see large pole weapons, a glaive, a massive hammer, a lance, but they also have rapiers and daggers and such. This stuff is pretty high quality. The cheaper stuff, there's also booths and stalls, and all the way down to, and you can see this like these tents and such on the map. These are sort of the temporary stalls that have been put up. But also in between, all in between everything, there's blankets laid out where people also have their goods. So it kind of depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for something nice, a well-crafted, nice-looking dagger, then you might go into the arms and equipment, Mildren's Arms and Armor. If not, you might find any of these blankets or stalls have a serviceable dagger for you.
I have 1 gold. Therefore, I'm looking for something cheap.
Okay.
I'm up here at this little shop up here trying to haggle with him over a skinning knife.
All right. Would you go ahead and ping again so I can see? Oh, okay. Excellent. Awesome. So they seem to be 2 neighbors who they're both selling a lot of the same sort of stuff. 2 very weathered. It's hard to tell if they were once brunette or once blonde, but the sun has sort of bleached their hair out into a light brown. They each have daggers, small hand weapons, some other tools and such like that. And each time a customer comes to one, the other will begin shouting that they're selling theirs for cheaper. As you approach, offering a dagger, the 2 begin arguing with each other, sort of almost haggling between themselves. And soon, one of them stops at 5 silver for this nice skinning knife. The other one offers 5 silver for a very similar skinning knife, and then a slightly larger fillet knife as part of the set. The first one sort of grumbles and subsides, clearly beaten.
I will take this.
Do you take you take the second offer, the better offer? It's another one for me, cousin. One sort of kind of leers at the other one. You see the first man stifle a curse and turn, shouting to a fresh group of customers that are obviously have no interest. They're walking right by. So you now have, this skinning knife and this fillet knife, which is large enough. You could use it like a dagger. At lead.
I think X is more thinking down the lines of maybe picking a lock with it or letting himself in a door. He's seeing some opportunity here.
Okay. So for a moment, as you step away, you're looking around for maybe some more goods, and you also catch this group of heroes. X, how familiar are you with Arabelle? How long have you been here?
X has been around a long time. He's pretty old, so he's been in and out of the city. He's not somebody who would stay here,
okay,
but he's visited many times.
Okay. So yeah, you're familiar with and have probably met in your past some of these heroic adventurers that have moved into the square. You see the sort of rat-faced hardy cart stand up on the edge of the square and begin to sing a an ode to the market day, singing about the weather, the gathered crowd, the laughing children, the water that dances in the sunlight of this fountain, and all of the, sort of encapsulating all the hope and excitement that such a day might inspire in the townsfolk and traveling merchants that are here. Let's see here, checking a couple of notes. Is there anything else that X is looking for?
No, he's interested now though. Mm-hmm. So he came to town for a few simple supplies, and he's going to wander around, maybe getting some rope or something. But he sees that these heroes are in town, and he's intrigued. He's kind of watching.
Okay. One of them approaches you. It's not one of the sort of main group as you'd consider them. It's a woman. She has all, she's dressed in like sort of traveling robes. There's some small indications that she might be an arcanist, a sort of lower level wizard. And yeah, you're pretty sure that this is the woman she's associated with that group of heroes. And she actually approaches X. She seems hesitant. She sort of looks around, obviously maybe embarrassed to be seen speaking with a disheveled sort of person. But the look that she gives you tells you that, like, it's that she has a strong enough reason to fight through that embarrassment to come talk to X. She kind of about 5 feet from you and just pitched just enough for you to hear. She says, "Things are afoot, and I know you once were a great man, and if any of that greatness is left in you, I think you could handle the knowledge that things are about to get very bad for the city. We're preparing. Come, Oscar." She says this again. This boy who just sort of seems like kind of poleaxe, just taking it in the city. She seems to be sort of almost dragging him from place to place. She kind of gives you a last sort of piercing look, almost impressing her words onto you, and then steps away. What does X do next?
He's just going to stand there, trying not to be combination of angry and sad. Doesn't like that his past got brought up like this, so he's just kind of standing there, gathering his thoughts, regrouping.
Yeah, as she's walking away, maybe about 30 feet away, she kind of turns and looks back at you. Some of the same mix of looks, but still that feeling of trying to impress something on you. You can make an insight check to kind of see what it is. Maybe not impressing upon you. It's hard to say until it clicks.
That's a 21 insight.
It is a 21. Nice. The look that's kind of buried beneath that guarded embarrassment is hopeful. She's hoping you get what she's trying to get across to you. She certainly could have used more words, but based on what you've heard about this person, she must have fought through a lot to come over and speak with you. And there was a hesitation before she brought up your past, as if she knew that was gonna maybe be a moment for you.
I'm gonna start looking for arrows.
Okay. There are several. There's a woman named Tara, a half-elven woman. She's very short. She has very short cropped dark brown hair. And she originally, at least her family, you're certain her family's from the Feywild. She has the wood elves from the Feywild. They mark their necks and collars with sort of strange tattoos that, well, not strange, but they're pictographic and don't mean much unless you've studied them. But you can see those tattoos kind of creeping up the sides of her neck. Ah, X. Well met again. Beautiful day, she says.
X doesn't smile. He doesn't have many smiles in him. He'll just indicate a whole bunch of arrows laying there and say, I'll need all these.
Okay, that sounds ominous. You've got coin today?
I have 5 silver.
Well, you did help my nephew with that problem that he had. I'll tell you what. If 5 silver's what you got, you can pay me back week's end. I know you're good for it. Does that sound okay? Does that sound good?
Thank you very much.
Of course, you take good care today. She kind of her brows beetle down a little bit in, not befuddlement, curiosity, trying to figure out why. You always perhaps has sort of a grave tone, but there may have been something about that interaction that caught her off guard. So she kind of watches you, maybe a puzzled look on her face as she watches you walk away, and then turns to another group so she can start hawking some of her wares at them. Right. So stepping over to Helena. Helena, as soon as your first customer of the day, the massive hulking mountain of a man who bought some of your wares. And you've heard of these heroes. You've seen Uma from a distance, different places here and there throughout your life. They're not in town often, but it is a place that's central. So you're surprised when Uma comes over, whispers something low in your ear, and presses a small pouch into your hand. She nods before she takes her position there. And so, before you can even really puzzle over it over much. Let's see here. Oh, yeah, let's see here. Checking a note real quick. Give me just a moment.
While he's checking, Pawn, you want to describe your character?
Yeah, please, Pawn.
Well, first things first, I have to get out of the way. That dragon woman, she wanted to eat some of my rats. I can't get over it. Anyway, description of Helena. She itches her head a lot because she doesn't bathe very often. Maybe never. She doesn't wear shoes. She has very scraggly black hair that's sort of matted and dreaded up in places. But some would say she does have sort of a natural inner light and a radiance to her. Actually, no one has said that, but I suppose if she had a good bath, we could find out. She has brown eyes. She's human. And, the life of a rat pelt seller is quite a lot of description. You can imagine. She wears rags for clothes. And this is the most wealthy she's ever been in her life after just selling those rat pelts. She's got 5 gold. I mean, she's going to eat well. She is very happy about that.
Excellent. So before Uma can slip away, before she does slip away, she's a bit louder. She offers to buy some of your wares and asks if once finding out that it's rat-based products, she excitedly asks if you have any rat meat to eat. She would happily buy a stick or 2.
No. You. need to leave now.
Well, I don't understand.
How could you? How could you? These are fine creatures. I have harvested them ethically. Ethically. You can't just come over here and ask me to eat some of my babies.
Seeming very confused. The scaly brow sort of works, and she steps back and bows very stiffly, and makes her way over to the fountain. And you can see and hear a little bit through the din of the crowd, the sort of rat-faced Hardycart giving her an equal earful about attempting to, or even suggesting eating rat. So she got it from not one but two places. Let's see here. Now,
oh, after the fact, Helena is trying to center herself by breathing and sitting cross-legged with her arms out to the sides. Very, very zen.
Nice. While you're sort of, restoring your calm, Hardycart comes over and purchases a few simple items from you. Now, remind me, Joe, how much money did you spend there? How much money did Hardycart spend there?
Hardy got 2 pelts.
Okay.
And I believe he dropped like 30 gold off to Helena.
Wow. So Helena is now rich beyond her own dreams of avarice with 35 gold as Hardycart bows and steps away.
I'm so rich. I'm so rich. She's just crying.
And as your, tears start to well up and, carve clean furrows in your dirty cheeks, you start to hear Hardycart sing in a very beautiful, dulcet tone.
It's so beautiful.
At this point, you see that noble woman and the young boy sort of make another circuit, and they take an even wider berth around you as you're sort of, Helena's now crying and, exploding with emotion. You hear this chosen one, Oliver, you think, say something about, aren't these the sort of people that the chosen one is supposed to protect? And this other figure immediately drowns him out in a torrent of sort of harsh and snippy sounding words that are drowned out by the rest of the crowd. Now, let's see here. All right, we're going to slip back around to the top of the order and see if there's anything else that anyone else was sort of interested in taking care of. So back around to, back around to Lokag. I believe we got a good description of Lokag, right? I think you might.
Yep,
be,
just a giant, massive guy. Yeah, he's just kind of strolling around in his new. He's kind of sauntering a little bit more now that he has this rat pelt on his head. He thinks it makes him look a little bit more like everybody else, and he's kind of just sauntering this way through the market. He's eyeing the weapons. He didn't have enough money to buy anything anyways of that he wanted, but he's very, very pleased with his purchase of rat pelts for 5 gold.
Yeah, it's surprising that it's rat. It's actually pretty shiny and seems like it was bathed in something or other. But the selection process... What was that, Pon?
Oiled.
But the pelt selection process may not have had an eye for quality. Some of the pelts are clearly taken from rats that were scarred or mangy or just old and sort of losing patches of fur. And the stitch work it's serviceable, probably from among your folk, it would be, probably, again, serviceable.
That'll match his kilt and boots then. They've definitely seen some wear.
All right. So as you're moving through, sort of, there's no shortage. Basically, every booth that has any sort of weapon, whether it's a quarterstaff, dagger, some swords, throwing axes, anything, shouts at the Goliath. Great man! Big warrior! Hulking one! An axe for you! And it's sort of never ending. But as you sort of pass each one of them, it's, they want more gold perhaps than you have. It's possible that you could try to, talk somebody down or make some other sort of deal, or anything else. I mean, the town is bustling. It's full of people. There's an inn and a pub, a restaurant, but also up toward the top, there's fine metals, a jeweler, goldsmith, whitesmith, glassworks, herald, someone who does heraldry, who will put your sort of device, will sew your coat of arms or whatever, and make livery for your house or guards, things like that. There's also a booth that's just like puzzles, wooden and metal, like puzzles, blacksmith puzzles, and toys and various things like that. So all sorts of, also of course a fine clothier, as well as a traveler's outfitter, which, everything from pouches to saddlebags to ropes, backpacks, water skins, that sort of stuff. But it's all pretty fine. Like everything that's established in the buildings, their families have been here for generations in their trade, while all of those with tents are pretty, successful from season to season. So it's a little bit more manageable in price. Of course, some of the nicest stuff that you might notice is in Mildred's arms and armor, the suit of half plate. I'm sorry, I said full plate before, but it's a suit of half plate in the front window. Suits of chainmail hanging on sort of wooden dummies inside, and they just have everything that you can swing at or to wear when you're getting swung at. And it's all beautiful, fine work, fine lines, metals inlaid in metals, the handles and hafts of polished exotic woods from different places. It's all incredible to look at. And according to, the local word, it's the place to buy weapons and armor in the city. But this is the market square too, so all of the booths and even those who have their goods laid out on carpets, it's pretty high quality compared to most other squares in town that you'll find. Like the people with the best stuff tend to sell their wares here. So if there's anything else you might be looking for, let me know. And if not, we'll step over initiative.
Yeah, he's just walking around. He doesn't have any money left, so he's just looking. He's just browsing. He may head over to the tavern brewery to try and perform like a feat of strength or something for a drink. One of his tricks of the trade, where he just goes and he says, I bet I can lift this heavy thing for a drink. Who wants to arm wrestle the Goliath?
Oh, well, with either of those offers, there is the barkeep and brewmaster, one Baba Brune. He's a massive human. He's only about 4 inches shorter than you, about as wide at the shoulder, but his gut is much more prodigious than yours. And he leans over, buries his shoulder in a cask and heaves it up on to one shoulder and says, without strain, "Lo Cag, everyone knows I am the strongest in the square. After all, I've got these beautiful muscles," and he kisses one of his biceps. "What do we go for this time? 2? He reaches down and starts to lift one.
I shall attempt 3 if you will do 2.
All right, go ahead and make your strength check as he points to some of the kegs nearby, and you start to load your shoulders up. He struggles to get the second one up and does not manage to keep it up there for very long. You get the third one up on your shoulder and keep it for a half second as his first is rolling off. Bah! Ha 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 ha! Lokag! Ah! Always good to have a real challenge. Here. Drink. He slides a wooden cup sloshing with sweet, honey mead into your hand, as that's the main thing that they serve. Various types of mead, from dry to sweet, but not really ale. They serve mead and hard liquors, as well as food.
Lokag takes the drink heartily and starts regaling some of his stories from the fighting pits in the outer cities to the bar patrons, whether they want to hear it or not. He's too loud to ignore, I think.
Well, it's mostly Baba Brune who's sort of reacting, laughing, asking the right leading questions, an expert barkeep. The others, sitting outside, you can see a few of the faces inside. A few people get up and go inside, away from the noise. Baba just sort of laughs at them. He has sort of a wreath of flaming red hair. The beard, the sort of shortish hair bushed up, all sort of blends together. And his forearms are just about red from the thick red hair standing out. But underneath that, his skin is as pale as paper, just about. Just his forehead and his shoulders kind of sunned up. He fills your drink. Of course, asking what brings you into the square. But he's immediately interrupted by some problem or other. About every 30 seconds, he has to do something. Open another keg, load several kegs onto a small wagon, as they also sell their mead in bulk.
I like to think that as he asks questions and has to walk away, Lokag just immediately turns and answers that question to the closest person sitting to him. So he's still answering the questions, just not to Baba Brune.
Right. And that's probably, that's probably, Baba Brune knows. He's like, this is a bar conversation, not a one-on-one conversation. All right, anything else for Lokag?
No. I think that fills Lokag's time in the square.
All right. Stepping over to Millie. So we missed this last time, and thanks for catching this on me. What does Millie look like?
Yeah, so Millie is a young woman with kind of dirty red dreads that go down to her kind of mid-shoulder length. Dirty brown skin, whether it's just caked in dirt and mud from years in the streets of Arabelle, or slightly tanned, or natural. It's hard to tell. Much like Helena, she hasn't had a true bath in a long while either.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So yeah, Millie is currently in the north portion of the square, sort of right between the, here on the map. And with the guards, of course. Now, you know, without turning to look and giving away the game, you can tell that Hardycart is very deftly making his way over towards you, stopping, talking to people, looking at wares here and there. But lose track of him for several moments. You kind of glance cleverly around, trying again not to be too obvious about it, just kind of nonchalantly looking around. You don't see the little man, but then you do feel something, a small strip of metal pressed into your left hand.
Close my hand around it.
Yeah. You immediately recognize a lockpick. Simple. It is the one lockpick you would need if you only had one to unlock a pair of shackles.
She hides those just kind of down a tattered sleeve, kind of keeping the hand now closed around the manacles.
All right. Now, you have this. Are you biding your time, or are you going to go ahead and try to free yourself?
Bide my time, but also hunt these guards a little bit.
Okay.
Really? Keeping me here in front of all this food? You be any crueler?
Don't worry, Millie. You know they'll give you a good meal in the clink. You love the gruel down there. You must. Must. She keeps going back, says one of the lady guards.
Well, it is better than the strange things in the sewers. It does not feed well.
All of the guards laugh as they know how bad the food is there. If you're lucky, you might get a fish head in your gruel today. I think you got lucky last week, wasn't it? And you say you don't have any friends in the guard. But they're kind of, talking pretty casually, not really looking at you, not much fire for the conversation. Their eyes are on the job. They're looking at people's hands, sort of listening at raised voices to see if there's any altercations. A few of them move out and break up what seems to be a small scuffle developing between some adolescents, two boys who seem to have liked the same piece of jewelry. They kind of move in between them, scoop them, separate them, and by and large, it's pretty peaceful. But given how people are packed in here, it's hard to sit still. This is a perfect place to lighten a lot of purses, and you're sure that there are just a river of coins flowing through this square at the moment. You're sure that some of your friends, and you can see occasionally some of your friends moving here and there throughout the square, and making not quick, but definitely suspicious movements here and there. You know what they're doing. A few things disappear off the tops of you.
Distract the guards, accidentally step on their feet. The whole act to keep them in their eyes on me, focused on me.
Absolutely. And that seems to work. You're certain that two very well-dressed, silken brocade nobles had their purses removed. There were a couple of fine steel daggers that were removed from another table. So yeah, your crew is getting a few pieces of equipment and had to have already cleared about 50 gold so far in the square, which is a really good day, and it's still morning. So perhaps a little bit of contentment comes over Millie as you're still doing the job. Maybe your hands aren't doing it, but the guards do. You can tell they have a soft spot for you. They're gentle with you. They do what they're supposed to do. They're not rough though, and they're not overly cruel. They're not sort of joking at your expense, more than they're trying to get you to joke and not be so glum about the results of your own actions, I suppose. As
they're not the worst of people, but unlike the one person who used to look away from our general smaller activities of food theft, they still don't. They still do their job. She understands.
All right. So step over to Cliff. Cliff's still having that very long and intimate moment with your new firearm. There's more than one person who's curious what's in this very simple but well-made box that you keep opening and closing.
Yeah. He'll I just wonder if he might. You could roll a sleight of hand or something. I wonder if he would notice what the shenanigans going on with the prisoner. I'm curious.
No, you can make an insight check or a perception.
Yeah. And my passive is pretty high, but I'm going to roll too.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, something is definitely going on.
Yeah.
Hardycart and Millie, something is happening between them.
I kind of look over there kind of suspiciously for a sec, and then I look to the guards, and he says, you know, there's something strange going on, and it's inside this box. And he opens it up just a little bit. You want to see? And he opens it up just like halfway and just looks at them like, isn't this the most amazing thing you've ever seen?
There's two dwarves. There's one old dwarf and one half-dwarven woman who both lean forward. Their eyes sort of widen. His jaw drops open a little bit. Is that a long gun? Says the guard.
It's gnomish work. The master himself.
Well, we saw you with Phineas.
Yeah.
Now, how'd you afford such a piece like this?
We had an arrangement.
Oh, an arrangement, says the dwarf, sort of winking at you. Sort of arrangement we should know about?
I mean, I could make an arrangement with you. I'm always looking for resources. I'm not great at making new bullets. I don't honestly know how to really even use this thing yet. I'm nervous to even touch it. I don't want to break it. So I might just keep it in the box. I don't know if I'm going to use it.
Well, says the woman, as my grandfather said, it's not yours unless you get a scratch on it, or a dent.
Oh, that is reassuring, but I have nightmares just thinking about it. I don't know if I'll be able to sleep if I don't keep her under my pillow.
That's the best place to keep her, says the dwarf, says the man. But in the hand is also good. Well, if you're looking for someone to do a bit more work for you, Bardubel runs the hot shop. All the smithies owned by him. He's got a white smithy in there. He can cast all manner of shapes for you. Might be able to get some bullets from him.
Well, I may need more at some point. I'd love to learn. How to make my own bullets. You know, I like to be a self-made man. So, perhaps for a small fee, or if I do a little work for them, maybe they'll teach me a few things. Yeah.
Well, Bardubel is always looking for a bit of help, and I think he might be looking for an apprentice-type situation. But you'd have to ask him yourself, like.
Well, I don't know how much time I can devote to such things, but more of a part-time arrangement, you know, when we're both not busy. I'm sure I can help him out, and if there's anyone they need looking for, you know, I handle missing persons. So, should you ever need any assistance, here's my card. And he hands him a little.
I've heard about you, then. Cliff, the thief hunter, right?
Clifford Bolt.
Yeah, it's good to put a name to a face. Yeah. Some, don't trust bounty hunters, you know. But, well, I've had a few cousins that were in the work. Long range, between cities, real hard work. You do that sort of stuff? Go out into the wild, bring people back?
Yeah, occasionally. People don't get far before I catch them. But, occasionally I have to go into the warrens, you know, deal with the infestations of Lord knows what might be under the ground. You just keep your ears peeled, your eyes open. You'll find what you're looking for, and it's the best way to look out for danger. I don't go too close to nothing. I try to keep my distance, and if worse come to worse and I gotta take somebody out, well, I ain't gonna see the whites of their eyes when I do it.
I was thinking the same thing up until the last part. Unfortunately, if we have to do violence, we're usually right up in their faces. On the other hand, they usually deserve it.
Well, and if you can knock them out, you know, I don't want to hurt nobody if I don't have to.
That's why they don't let us carry blades on duty, just the truncheons.
Well, that must be a challenge, but I imagine you appreciate the challenge now, don't you?
I do. I got really good aim. aim for knuckles and elbows most like these days.
Ah, yes. Well, I got my best aim is looking down the barrel of this fine piece here.
So what does Cliff look like?
Cliff has a very thick sideburns, bushy dark hair, kind of jowly in the face. You know, he's got a little bit of like age, scars from various fights maybe that he's been into, or various scrapes that he got into, maybe rolling down a hill or falling into a well, or he's just got a lot of wear on him. He's looks like he used to have a nice dark brown, but he's starting to get a little salt and pepper in the beard area. And you'll see that he's wearing he wears a vest and a coat and tries to look respectable, for the sake of the business. But it's clearly they're not the finest of wares. He's been wearing these for a while, and he tries to take real good care of them. He's fastidious about such things, and he's got all his buttons down and all that. But yeah, that's kind of the look you'll get from him. He's most notable is that his eyes just seem to have a sparkle. Like he's always watching, he's always looking, he's always paying attention, he's reading the room, he's looking at people. Maybe people far away, you can't even hear him, but he's looking at them and he's sussing them out, and he's just sort of taking in the scene. So sort of cruises along like an animal, not like a lion, but more like a bison, just sort of cruising through, looking at things.
Nice. All right, stepping back over to X. Now, we did get a good description of X. Is there anything else that you wanted to add about X's description, DL?
No, not at the moment.
Okay.
Nope.
All right, so, you've been listening as different things have developed around the square. You've had a chance to look around, and there's just about anything that you could ask for. There are 2 different blankets that have potions and that sort of thing. Everything from healing potions to love potions to help you sleep. And so it's sort of a mix of like magical seeming potions and sort of maybe medicinal, and likely some snake oil, particularly on the blankets outside. But there is a square apothecary that's been in business for a long time. Yeah, they have, well, most of the stuff can be more trusted. Like, if a healing potion doesn't work, you can usually get your money back unless you died because of it. But other things are more subjective. Love potion, those things like that, those sort of maybe more snake oil things. You wouldn't buy them in the square itself, but if they had something like that labeled in Sarah and Elneth's shop, then you'd probably expect that it was actually functional. So having had some time to sort of look around, is there anything else that you're interested in doing in the square? Anything else that grabs your attention?
No, I'm just kind of checking out these heroes. We've had some foreshadowing. So I think X at this point would be looking for other competent people in the square to try to, let's say, rally up against whatever trouble he just got warned of.
Okay.
So I'm looking for people that look cagey or competent, or try to figure out what it is that's going to go wrong, because this lady told me like stuff's about to go down.
All right. Well, you can go ahead and make your perception and insight checks in that case. Okay. Just after Francesca comes over and speaks with you.
18 perception.
Okay. You spot Hester sort of looking at you, walking in your direction. Hester leans in, goes to shake your hand, puts something leather in your hand, and for the second time someone brings up your former life. Hester says, "I know you lost your faith. you're going to need to find it again. Find it. And sort of squeezes the gloves into your hands. And steps back off, sort of moving back toward Hardycart, who is, again, has stepped up and is just finished singing on the square.
Okay, I think X now at this point is like on edge. So who do I see that I can like gather up or group up with or something?
Well, so there's clusters of guards. At each set of alleys, there's at least 2 guards. On the larger street to the north and south, there's four guards in purple and gold of Arabelle's livery. So there's them. There's clusters of merchants and families and people. There's a lot of people that have swagger. A lot of young men and women who seem to be bravos or would-be sellswords. But based on the way they walk, they move, and the good shape that their clothes are in, you think that they're all bluster and talk and probably don't have any real skill. You can go ahead and make that insight check, as you've got a pretty good bead on people as you're looking through the square. All right. Well, so
15 on insight.
You look around, and the most immediate survivors you see, aside from the heroes and the guards, there is Cliff. You think his name is Cliff? Sort of grizzled fellow with the mutton chops, who's now bought Phineas sold him something in a box. You think he's a bounty hunter. There's the woman in shackles that you think Hardycart is trying to free her. Or tried, did something. An urchin, you've seen her around quite a bit. That kid's a survivor for certain. There's a massive dragonborn. Goliath, who assuming he is a berserker. He's not wearing any armor of any sort. He, might be a pugilist. You don't really see any large weapons or anything. But either way, he is very large, extremely muscular, pretty solid, and he's got a good number of combat scars on his forearms, backs of his hands, and his chest. Look like he's taken some wounds. Of course, Baba Brune, the very large and very hearty owner of the Tavern Brewery. You know that he was a soldier when he was younger, and has bodily thrown 2 large people at a time out of his bar. Beyond that, someone who stands out to you, and you might or might not have been watching and already sort of had an insight about. But the rat pelt seller, Helena, she's tough as nails. You've seen all sorts of stuff out of her, and heard some stories too, about just things falling on her coming up out of the sewers, like being sort of damaged and hurt. She survived a couple of intense infections, and yeah, if someone makes her livelihood going down into the sewers, exploring and surviving, that there's giant rats. Rumors say that there's were-rats as well, and also slimes of various sizes. So aside from that, those are the most capable people that you spot in the square.
X is gonna walk up to them one by one, and he's just gonna give them a simple message: be prepared, trouble's coming.
Okay. Slipping through the...
He's gonna be cryptic. He's not gonna wait for a response. He's just gonna say it and just slowly stride off.
All right.
Cliff follows him with his eyes and kind of looks around extra suspiciously, looking for danger.
All right. Nice. What about Helena? How does Helena respond to this message? I mean, he walks away, so you can't respond to him. But how does Helena react to getting this message?
What else is new?
Nice. What about Millie?
Millie just kind of raises an eyebrow and just like looking down at the manacles, like, huh? This is already past or present. I don't know.
What about Lokag?
Lokag is way too embroiled in his drinking to notice any of this. He is still just rambling, just absolutely rambling.
How much has Lokag been drinking?
Honestly, as long as the cups are getting filled, he's slamming them back.
All right. Well, as you and your sort of amorphous conversation that you're having with the bar, with Baba's help, is engaging people. And so each time a few more customers comes in, because of your conversation, he'll set another cup down. So you have no shortage of cups to drink. If you are drinking steadily, you might need a con save versus poison to see how
I will happily
drunk you are.
make a con save. Excellent critical fail.
Woof. All right, Lokag, you are seeing double for a moment, and you can get this drunk, and you expect you probably got maybe about a half hour, an hour before you're in the clear. But you definitely have the poison condition in that sense of being drunk. You're at a disadvantage for some things.
Got it.
All right. Anything else for X as you share that word around?
Nope, it's good.
All right. And how about Helena? With everything that's happened?
Well, all she can think about is how rich she is now. So
Yeah.
she decides that she's going to call it a day. And she's going to start to pack up her little wooden, crummy little box with a sliding little lid on it. Starts taking all of her pelts down. And she starts taking her... All she does is kick the stick over and knocks her whole tent over. Just starts packing up all of her stuff.
Nice.
It all rolls up into a nice, neat little pack. There's not a whole lot to it, really.
Probably rolls it up in the lean-to cloth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Frame. All right, so she's got this big bundle on her back with all of her rat pelts and her tent and the blanket she lays on, and likely her coin all tucked in various places around her person. Is there anything that she would want to buy with all this vast wealth that she's accrued in one single lucky market day?
Is there a sandwich? Or like a really magnificent stat boosting sandwich?
Well, not exactly. But there are some very good meals at the Mistfield Square Dining Hall. It's on the left of the map. And the alchemists, they sell all sorts of potions and concoctions that might give one a boost.
She wants to feel good, so maybe perhaps... Does she pass the alchemy shop? Where did you say that was again?
That is to the top left. I will ping...
Okay. And then the restaurant, where's that at again?
That is just below on the same side of the map.
Okay. Well, I think she definitely is going to go for the potion first.
All right. So something that makes you feel good, something that makes you feel euphoric, something that makes you feel strong, something that makes you feel fearless. Define good.
That's a good one for Helena. I want to say something that makes her feel... I like strong. Strong is pretty cool. Like defensive strong.
Oh, okay. So as you come into the place, you were greeted by the much more talkative Sarah. She has like short cropped dark hair. She's very androgynous seeming, but there's a lilt to her voice and a sway when she walks. She's usually sort of wearing a gray robe-like merchant smock, She looks uncertainly as you come in, as you've likely haven't been in some time. And likely the last time you were in, there was some confusion as to what you meant. Her eyebrows sort of climb up. Helena, did you wander into the wrong store again, love?
You're always thinking that. No, I have come here. I have sold pelts today, and I have coin. Now,
You sold some?
Of course I did. I don't know why that surprises you. You know, someone even wanted to eat some of my rats. Of course, I didn't allow it. But
well,
anyway.
No, I'm glad. That'd be terrible for their health, wouldn't it?
Well, yes, they'd be dead.
She cocks her head to the side, but slides that on. Go ahead.
Now that offensive conversation is out of the way, I changed my mind. At first, I thought I wanted something to make me feel strong, but now I need something to help my mood from interacting with you. So, something euphoric. What do you have? What feels good?
Oh, we have Euthyd's Euphoric. It's a common potion that's imbibed, during parties and gatherings and things like that. It's sort of very short-lived. It makes you feel really good, but it doesn't intoxicate you. You could still function. It's 10 gold, love. Did you sell enough today to purchase to afford that?
I love how you're pretending to be considerate. I do have that, in fact. Give it to me. I'll give you this. She juts out and drops the coin on the table.
Oh, she looks down at the coin. Well, she looks at you. Congratulations, Helena. It's always good to have a good day in the market, isn't it?
From one patron to another. Yes, indeed.
Her look kind of sours again, but she purses her lips together. In just a moment, and she steps into the back and comes out with a small clay vial labeled Euphoric. Now make sure you drink it all at once. And I thank you for your business, Helena, very much.
And she just pops the cork and just quaffs it right there and tosses the bottle on the floor and walks out.
She kind of frowns and looks down, sort of squinting at your back, shakes her head and wanders. You can kind of see her out of the corner of your eyes. You leave, scooping the potion vial up and watching after you. Now, as you're sort of, make your way back out, perhaps moving over toward the coffee cart and some of that stuff, you see Uma, just in time to see Uma stand up and give a great shouting, give a great shout. It says some phrase in Draconic, and light seems to flow out of her like a bubbling spring. Golden waves of liquid-like light seem to flow out in a great radius around her. She and Hardy Cart share a look, and she steps around toward Hardy Cart. They gather themselves up, Francesca and Oliver, and they start moving very quickly toward the northern route toward the city center. Looks like Hardy pulls out a small item. They all touch Hardy's shoulder, and they seem to blink forward about 100 feet down the road. They do this 2-3 times until they're out of sight. But before you can even be curious, the air is split with a massive echoing crack, as if a vast, unfathomably vast slab of stone was fractured high up in the air somewhere. There is a sort of bubbling of uncertain and maybe fearful sounds as people look around. You can just catch Uma looking up before they blink out of sight up the hill through the tumble of houses. As that sort of cracking sound echoes, there's a finger, another hand sort of points up toward the sky, and your eyes are drawn to a small, almost black dot. It seems to quickly grow larger to a billowing, greasy, and gray smoke. It's not so much getting closer as it's getting larger, and takes you a moment, a split second, to tell that it's actually maybe 100 feet above the Tower of Ogma, and it's growing. This greasy brown and black smoke. Within it, you can see a rough shape of a large, perhaps stone. It seems to sort of pass through this greasy mist. Not so much like the mist doesn't, or the smoke doesn't swirl out of the way so much as it just seems to phase through this smoke. As soon as this slab of stone is like fully sort of resolved in your vision, you just have the briefest moment to see like cave openings and maybe stairs and walkways along this vast chunk of stone. You see one side of it is covered in like this garish, glowing green moss. And as if gravity suddenly takes hold of it, the stone begins to fall toward the city center. There are screams of alarm and fear all around you as this massive stone appears in the air and plummets toward the city center. I think this is a good spot to pause for a short break. Give us a moment to get up and stretch our legs, get some water, and that sort of thing. I'd like to, on this break though, leave the cameras on. I'm going to switch back to just our faces. And we can chat a little bit. We can visit those of us who are watching, talk in Twitch chat a little bit. And I'm going to throw a little bit of music on. So, let's take 5 or 10 and come back to it. How's that sound with everybody?
Sounds good to me.
All right. I am going to mute some channels here. Actually, now we'll leave it like it is, so I don't mess it up when we come back. All right, so yeah, let's take 10 and come back to it. I'm going to step out real quick, and I'll be back in 2 minutes. So whoever is, if let's get a couple people to stay for a moment and stay on screen. And yeah, I'll be back in just a few minutes.
Oh yeah, I'm ready for this next part.
Almost like you know what's going to happen.
I'm very interested in Lokak entering this first potential combat with the poison condition. That'll be fun. I actually think he's got it. I don't think that's intentional, but it might be we switched over some audio stuff for the face page, so we'll have to let DM know about that and check it out when he gets back. Hey, welcome in, Whittleshins. Yeah, we're just taking a quick break, so if you hang tight, we'll be right back with some more gameplay. I know I'm super excited about the numbers for views. EL, I thought you went with sunglasses today, and I can see it's just your glasses. I was a little disappointed.
You thought I should have glasses?
I
Or sunglasses?
I thought you had sunglasses on. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Oh man! All right, I'm back. So how we doing? How we feeling so far?
I'm feeling great. Chat says we got a little echoey going on.
Wonder where it's coming from. Let me double check something. Checkity check. Check. So yeah. Now I wonder if it's an echo that is happening when somebody talks.
Everybody try talking.
Yeah, checkity check.
Yeah, DM, they said it's not you, so it might be me somehow.
Okay.
I got all the sound coming through my headphones.
Okay.
I'll double check though.
All right. I think I may have fixed the issue. Okay. Yeah, I'm working on my laptop. I've got a new audio setup that I'm testing out and getting in order on my laptop. So audio issues will be a lot simpler once I transition over, but I'm not going to do that until everything's settled.
So is the echo coming through for you all, or just on the stream?
I'm not hearing it, so I think just on the stream.
Yeah, it's not coming through Discord.
Are you all still hearing the echo? Stream? The echo's cool?
I'll just talk a little bit more to see if somebody can confirm if I'm still echoing, or
They
if
said,
that got
they said
fixed
it's
now.
fine. Looks like we are good to go.
Fixed itself like in Brazil. Man, I love that movie. Oh yeah, still got a little bit of coffee. Yeah, I saw it when I was younger, and I didn't appreciate it as much until I don't know. I just watched a lot more cinema, particularly like, a lot more sort of dystopian kind of stuff, and gone back and read a lot of dystopian fiction. It really helped me appreciate Brazil. Like, just the wackiness caught me when I was little, But going back as an adult and watching it, it's a totally different movie. Alright, let's see here.
Yeah, I think I saw that film when I was maybe 14 or 15.
About the same.
It was perfect for me, though, because I was just at that age where I was questioning everybody and everything. And it was pivotal for me, I think.
That's a good one. Yeah, I think I saw it maybe a few years before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time Bandits is what caught me. Time Bandits was like, oh my god, this
I need
is
to see
bad.
it again.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen it since I was a kid, and I loved it. But yeah, that's a really good one.
Gilliam's got a film coming out, I think, soon. I saw some stuff about a film with like God and the devil. It sounded very Good Omens.
Okay, that was I liked that book.
Oh, Good Omens. Oh yeah,
that was really good.
Good series, actually.
Yeah, I caught they're doing another season, right? Or they're doing another.
A third? I hope so.
Yeah, I thought I saw something about that. But yeah, what I caught so far was great.
The thing you got to watch out for is there's all these AI fake ads saying, "Oh, Deadpool 12 is coming out." Like, really?
Yeah.
There's all these things that are like phishing. They're like, if we get a lot of likes, then maybe I can tell some producer to, fund this movie. But it looks like it's like a real movie, and it's not. So always double check.
Let's see here.
Damn robots are trying to trick us, trying to control our minds.
Wee AI. Which some of my techier friends are like, it's not actually AI, and I just believe them because I don't really know.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Everybody feeling settled in and ready to continue?
Yeah.
Anybody not feeling ready to continue? I guess it'd be easier.
Yo. Just kidding.
Well, we're going anyway.
As per usual.
Indeed. All right, let me go ahead and take these other characters off the map. And fix X up, so he's got little health bars. That would be Millie, which you're pinging on right now.
Correct.
All right. All right. Bacon. It's bacon. Bacon of hope. I'm pretty sure.
Bacon. That is right. We did decide it was bacon of hope.
Can confirm. DM Fiat. DM Fiat getting a little out of bounds, getting into the English language, but all right. All right, so stepping back into it. As all of this happens in a little over what it would take to blink your eyelids. This cracking sound, this dot turning into this mass of black, greasy, roiling smoke, this stone sort of resolving out of it and then dropping. In the time it takes to draw in breath, it accelerates as it falls and begins crashing into first the pink rose quartz towers. There's this like pink dust is scattered, shimmering dust of shattered crystal. Quickly lost to your eye is the court of arms and the fortress-like battlements. The towers and apartments of the Holy Quarter. It also vanishes beneath the bottom of this massive stone. And everything else is obscured by a massive wave of dust that comes billowing over the wall, uphill as you all look up, comes billowing and cascading down over, driven by, the force of the stone slamming to the earth. And the shining city on the hill is now blanketed in the dust of masonry. The city is full of screams now, as more squares and more streets than yours can see what's happening. That wall of dust rapidly comes over the square, heavily obscuring the area. The screams of nearby villagers, some are screaming. The guards are have all, before you lost sort of sight of anything 15 feet away from you or more. Many of the guards were sort of turning their way north. As about the time the dust falls over you, you all can hear other sounds. The sounds of hundreds and hundreds of voices, perhaps in unison. Does anybody speak Goblin in the party?
Let me see.
Yes, I do.
Make perception checks to see if you can hear through this wall of noise. Thick, choking dust. For everybody that has the language, you can go ahead and make your own perception for it.
I rolled a 12. His passive is higher.
Okay. So yeah, there's certain times I'll use passives and certain times I'll use actives. And sometimes I'll say roll, but it can't be lower than your passive. In this case, with all the distractions, it's going to be a straight roll.
Right. Gotcha.
Now, did someone else said they spoke Goblin or might understand the tongue? For that 12, it's hard to make out at first. As the dust just blasts over the square, some of the cries around you sort of die down as people start listening, trying to hear because they can't see anything. So you're able to hear 1,000 shrill, creaking, hateful voices screaming in Goblin. Meat for the masters. Meat for the masters. And just waves of this chanting. Villagers are the whole, anything that anybody you can actually see is paralyzed. They seem to just be looking. You could hear a little bit some of the guards trying to get order or sort of restore some calm, but you can hear that the guards, some of their voices are shaky, perhaps. Now, without initiative, I'm just going to sort of go through in order and quickly check reactions. Lokag. What does Lokag do?
Lokag, as this dust settles in and completely ruins his drink, he is gonna look up in anger, but see, see all the commotion that's starting to go about, and he's gonna sort of stumble out into just the, more towards the middle of the square as he's looking around.
Okay. So as you look northward, sort of really looking up from your drink for the first time, you see a sphere of light indicated on the map with that teal circle. It is sort of watery golden light that seems to be flowing out from a central place. It seems hopeful. You're filled with hope when you look at this light, almost as if it kindles that same fire inside you. Also, it smells faintly of bacon.
Is drawn towards the bacon.
Yeah, you can go ahead and place.
Are we able to?
Go ahead.
I wanted to make sure I was able to move.
Yeah,
I did,
yeah,
so.
please.
He's going to move up sort
full
of
action
towards... Awesome. What are the shopkeepers looking?
Some of them are looking. A few of them are sort of scraping gear off of the counters. Most of them are they're just sort of looking, like, or looking to their neighbors. Some have clearly, like, are already like running south, just panicked, have left all of, like, coins on the table even. So there's different reactions, but most, by and large, people are just sort of like frozen, just watching, and they just can't figure out how to react to it.
Between the military equipment and the guards' gear tents, Lokag wants to pick up a weapon, whether it's an axe or a sword or something within reach.
Okay. The guards' gear doesn't have anything bladed. It has mostly wood and metal reinforced clubs, maces, truncheons, and quarterstaffs. They also have shackles and rope, baldricks to hold your gear, and maybe badges and things like that. The military equipment it's mostly boots and saddles. There's not really any. Well, let's see. There is one weapon. There is a longsword. It's behind the table, on a stand, sort of behind the man who owns the stall. He's sort of staring dumbly up the hill, like he just doesn't understand what's happening. He doesn't notice you. He doesn't notice anything.
Lokag wants to go and try and grab that sword as he walks by. Just
the man sort of yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. You go ahead. You move by. You just want to move by.
Yeah, as he's walking past it, he sees all the commotion, and as a arena fighter, he doesn't carry his own weapons other than a knife, and he thinks now would be a good time to borrow a weapon.
Okay.
And he just casually picks it up as he walks by. Well, stumbles by a little intoxicated.
Right.
Not the drunkest he's ever been, but
The man only says, as if by rote, "That's not for sale." But eyes aren't torn away, or just not for sale. But he doesn't stop you or move in your way.
Yeah, he's definitely gonna just ignore him and push past out into sort of where he's at now.
Okay.
Spinning the sword, despite his drunkenness, somewhat deftly, as maybe it's muscle memory.
Okay.
Perhaps.
Yeah, the circles are a little oblong, as you're kind of stumbling to the side and back and forth. But you don't, cut any kids' ears off or, wound any merchants or anything like that. All right, so how about X? What's X's first reaction to all this as dust blankets the square?
X is going to come in here somewhere, and he's going to hide. He's going to find himself a good hiding spot where he can watch whatever happens next.
Cliff will follow you, by the way. He's right there next to you, so he'll take your lead and follow you in there.
All right.
Let's go ahead and finish.
Get ready for defense.
How else do you prepare yourself?
That's literally it. We're just gonna get in here and hide and keep an eye out and try to observe whatever comes next. I suppose if there was any good looting to be had, is there anything that's just like very valuable and easy to grab?
Well, you are at a fortune teller's wagon at the moment. Off to the south, there woodworking, furniture, but also some very nice and well-turned quarterstaffs. Up here, there are small hand weapons and tools. At least in this area, some of the nicest things that you've seen, there are 2 short swords at this booth. It is a heavy-set human woman who's selling They're very nice. The scabbards and handles are all very well carved wood. One looks like, one looks like sort of smoking, like maybe volcanoes. Seems to be carved the handle and the scabbard. The other seems to be mountain and rivers. The blades are out and displayed, and you can see the mixing of different types of steel to create that sort of Damascus patterning in them. They're very nice. Blades look also really old, which is always really, really promising. Anything that's lasted a long time has a good chance of being magic. And you think these blades, based on the style, are over 200 years old. They're not labeled as magical. They are very nice. The woman in question has what seems to be 2 hand axes. She's just kind of plucked up. She's hunkered down behind her counter, either waiting for someone to steal her goods or waiting for whatever this is going to come out of the dust. So, what does X do?
Well, is she paying any attention at all? Could I just like take them without her noticing, or
no? They're sitting in front of her on the table, and she's looking toward them.
Could Cliff step in? Would you mind if I jumped in?
Is Cliff trying to help?
Yeah, well, I'd like to just come on in there to her and move up to the swords. If he I assume he kind of catches it and says, "Hey, you mind if we borrow these?" And he just tries to be polite about it. "Ma'am, I'll give it right back. I just like to test the weight against some of these. I think it's goblins. You should probably get out of here." And then he's gonna reach to the swords and kind of look at her like, "Okay, I'm not stealing them. I'm gonna use them."
Hold just for a moment. And so X, you said you moved up and you were hiding?
Oh, that was my original plan, but then, like I said, I thought maybe it'd be a good opportunity to procure some stuff. So.
And I could be a distraction for you if it works out.
He's definitely got her attention completely. There's some other hand axes, again, sort of thrown in hand weapons. You see hammers, maces, the short swords that I mentioned. There's a couple of other short sword-like items, but they're not nearly as fine as these two. She does have one incredibly fine dagger that seems to be silver inlaid. It's on the corner nearest you. Also being at the back of the fortune teller's wagon. Probably reach in through the back window. There's a shelf of potions and a rack of herbs sort of hanging down over the window. So you could go for the weapon table or for the fortune teller's wagon.
So I'm just to get me centered again. So you're asking me if I want to go for one or the other?
Yeah. No. The weapon seller and the weapons I described there, the hand weapons, and then of course the fortune teller.
Nick, do you want those swords? Is that good for your character?
Oh, I mean, totally. He could use them, but you can also grab that little. There's maybe a magic dagger there on the end of the table. He might end up just giving them to you. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen on his end. When you're done, maybe we'll resolve how well he handles things.
Yeah, it sounded like you were trying to procure them for the group or for him, but yeah.
Yeah, it's going to end up with everybody. And I mean, potions are pretty sweet. So out of character, if you can scarf some of those without anyone seeing or grab a dagger, you go.
Yeah, I'd like I'll do the potion. We'll raid the potion stash.
All right. So if you spend like your action and bonus action, you could grab perhaps 2 of them, maybe 3, with a sleight of hand check, or if you don't have sleight of hand, have to take a dexterity save.
I'm not trained in sleight of hand. I'll do the dexterity save, I guess.
Okay.
18.
You grab 3 out of the rack pretty quickly and stuff them away. You're certain that one of them is a healing potion for the red band of paint around the flask itself. The others you'll have to look better at. One of them might, be a love potion or, something like that. But You grabbed 3. One's definitely a healing potion.
And then I will say, I'd like that dagger. That's it. I'll be done.
Okay. So as Cliff comes up the front and you come to the side, all right, take what you need. Pay me back if we live, says the old woman.
You can count on me, ma'am. I believe in the law, and I'll protect you. Grab the 2 daggers. I mean, the 2 short swords.
Okay.
And an axe, maybe, if I'm not being greedy. A throwing axe.
She looks at everything you grab. She nods to X to grab the dagger.
I kind of hold him out. Get ready to fight. Okay, and he'll go down and join X and say, "How did you know this was gonna happen?" And he's like a little bit like freaked out, like, "Who are you?" Kind of.
Fair.
To X.
What does X say?
A weird lady.
Take one of these. He'll hand him a blade.
I didn't catch that. What you said, DL? As he puts the blade in your hand, how does X react to any of this?
Weird lady said so.
Got quiet.
All right. So what about Helena? What is Helena doing during all this?
Well, as an urchin, she certainly has to take the moment to exploit chaos. Everyone is more fortunate than her, so as far as she's concerned, that she's entitled to anything no one's paying attention to. So, is there anything around her value or interest within a reasonable distance?
All right. So you're so consoled by the alchemist, but we described you kind of coming back toward the fountain itself. So somewhere around the fountain, perhaps, and then we'll decide from there. And you can kind of see some of a lot of the merchants are labeled what they have. Excuse me, what they're offering. So you can feel free to place yourself wherever you like.
Well, I think naturally, just kind of coming back in this way. Through these two shops.
Okay. In between the coffee wagon and a stacked wagon of there's a sign up that just says sundry imports, and you can see definitely crates that have been on ships for a good time. You can see a bit of salt crusted on some of them. Others just seem as if they've seen a lot of miles. Not the kind of stuff you think would be useful in this situation, but definitely valuables. There seems to be one box that is, well, on top of it seems to be, well, it's a very nice chess set carved of different types of stone.
Oh.
Well polished, and it's probably, the whole set's probably worth about 50 gold.
Ooh. That's pretty nice.
It would be, and the owner of this has already fled the premises. And darted back toward the alley to the southwest.
That's mine.
Alright, so you just dump the chessboard, perhaps off into your pouches, and what do you do with this massive, heavy stone chessboard?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna put it in my box that I have strapped to my back, and I'm gonna take it with me. It's fancy. I who knows? It could come in handy.
So the rat pelt seller drops her pack down on top of this, pours some chess pieces into her like various pouches, starts working this slab of stone down into her gear, and puts it back on her shoulders, and no one bothers her. The guards are looking northward. There's some nearby a couple of young nobles. Sort of one of them sort of looks over at you, and there's a faint, almost automated look of distaste that's just almost like programmed there, but the eyes aren't in it because they don't really notice, and they turn right back, looking up the hill, trying to look over the buildings, trying to look through these waves of dust. No one else is close enough to see you through the thick billowing sheets of dust as just sort of waves of dust and grit wash over you, sort of pelting your skin, and coating your throat and all of your gear, of course. Checking one more thing. All right.
Some animals take dust baths to get clean.
Do rats?
I could see it. I suppose probably some breeds of desert rat most certainly do.
Awesome. What about Millie? What does Millie do to prepare for it? Whatever's coming.
Yep, so Millie is still at the bequest of the guards, so I kind of expect that the guards are
definitely looking northward. You have been forgotten.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Whilst forgotten.
And shackled.
And shackled, it'll draw out the lockpick and begin attempting to unlock the shackles.
Okay. Let's go ahead and see that thief tool or sleight of hand check. Nice.
19 on those thieves' tools.
You sort of juggling this pick back and forth from hand to hand in front of you, trying to keep your hands low, not move your elbows too much so no one looks down. You cupping your hand, as much around as you can, trying to soften the sound. You manage to get first one and then the other shackle off.
And for now, I'm just gonna kind of pretend they're still there and like nothing's changed.
Okay.
And stand at the ready to react.
Okay. So as the dust it continues to billow over the square, you can hear the rasping sound of it hitting the stone and the canvas tops of the tents, pelting against the glass windows nearby. Really, it gets thicker. The sun is lost somewhere up above, and there's just this massive section of the sky that's sort of brighter than the rest. The sun is likely in the center of that somewhere. People begin to move. Panic animates those limbs frozen by surprise, and people start moving in no certain direction. They scatter here and there. Most people tend to be moving somewhere southerly, but you hear bodies collide, and people hit the ground. You hear people shouting at each other. It's coming from somewhere in the dust. Again, anything beyond 15 feet is heavily obscured for you all, so perception checks are going to be at disadvantage, and it's going to be much easier for anything to hide in it. But as that wave of chanting gets louder, of meat for the master, you can hear blood-curdling screams. You hear the sounds of weapons clattering against weapons and arms. You hear shouted sort of commands or frantic battle communication to the north. But that wave of chanting gets closer and closer. And you all, you start to see new movement within the square. Small shapes, those that come close enough, you can see, what likely are curved blades held in their hands, some of them holding these small crossbows. But again, at the moment, none of them are immediately close enough to you. The chanting is slowly sort of falling off. There's a few that are still chanting. You can see maybe some of them moving in clusters, others moving in ones and twos. Everyone go ahead and highlight your token and roll initiative.
don't we switch to Crispy?
What?
No, Helena. My bad.
Oh, it's saying you're... Huh.
Yeah, I don't know why it switched.
That's all right. Interesting. All right. So, at the top of the order is X. As you see some of these... let's see here. Yeah, essentially to the north, it's hard to tell exactly where they are, but you can see movement here. Oh, that didn't do anything. I'll switch back to a different layer. You can see movement there. You can see movement through those two booths here. You can hear it other places. It's not quite filtered down around you, like past you. All the goblins are still north of you so far. But X, you're the first to react.
So are you saying that the goblins are that close that we see motion?
Yeah, you can see them through the dust. But again, they're indistinct shapes. You can mostly sort of hear them with pockets of silence, or some of them are chanting. They're certainly not, the way they're moving, they're definitely not villagers. And you can kind of see two distinct clusters. To get a clear shot on anything, if you're going to try to make any attacks, you definitely would need to get closer. You can make a perception check to get more information. That's going to be done with disadvantage because of the obscurement.
Okay, I will take a perception check, see what I see.
Okay. Okay. Not bad. Give me just a moment. You are fairly certain that you see 3 goblins directly north of the fountain. I think there might be 2. There might be another one further east, but there's at least 2 on this side here. The ones that you can make out, I mean, you've seen goblins, but these look different. Their skin is, as much as you can tell, what must be a sickly, bright orange. They are scarred from what you can make out of their features. They don't seem to be wearing any armor. In fact, all you can see maybe are ratty pants and tunics. Based on the sound, it sounds like they're also barefoot. Some of them have... One of them has a scimitar, the other one has a crossbow. They seem to be accosting the candy maker. You can kind of hear her scuffling, running around behind, sort of diving underneath her table, and the excited sounds of the goblins pursuing her. Sort of, yeah, taunting her in their own tongue.
All right, so the one with the scimitar, seems like I am hidden from him.
You are. He's not aware that you're there.
Okay, so can I attack him with advantage then? Is that would that be true?
Yeah, it would be.
Okay, so I'm gonna take a shot, and what you see, X takes one of his arrows, and he holds his arm out straight, and he puts the arrow on top of his arm, and one of his tattoos starts to come to life. There's a manticore tattoo, and you see this ghostly image of a manticore rises up out of his arm, and then all of a sudden there's this snap, and the arrow just shoots forward into the goblin.
Nice. Let's see an attack roll. Love that description. 19 is going to hit. There is a almost squeaking sound from the goblin as the shape sort of drops down and tumbles, vanishing into the dust.
And then I'll fade back and I'll try to indicate to the group goblins 30 feet north.
Next in the order is Cliff. Do you have any response to X's actions or words?
His only response is just amazement at this manticore and how he just took out that goblin. He's impressed. He figures he's just like way next level and has all sorts of magic, and he's like out of his league here. So he's a little nervous, but he's gonna throw the axe that he got from that woman. He's gonna throw it at the.
So to be clear, you can't see the goblins yet. You can kind of see the shapes moving within the dust, but you can't see any distinctly. So you could move up closer or use a perception check as your bonus action.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna run right up to this thing where the body just dropped, and he's gonna come up. Yeah, just kind of right where the body went down. He's gonna replace it, holding the short sword in one hand, and I guess he'll attack with that against the goblin.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna roll a regular short sword. I'm not sure what cool stuff it does, but
as you get within 10 feet. I didn't see a stealth check for you.
Okay.
Yeah, the goblin, its action is ready to attack. It fires with a crossbow as your...
Yep. Then it goes off.
17.
That'll hit.
Does 1 damage. The arrow shatters as it hits you.
One of many scars I will never forget. Ow. All right. I will. Oh, yeah. I'm an attack. So I don't know the damage on this one in particular, but I'm just gonna roll a d20, huh?
What are you attacking with?
The blade that you gave me, the one that I picked up from the lady, the short sword.
All right.
That's just the d20 roll. Sorry, I was just fudging it because things are weird. But it should be +5 to that, so 14 plus whatever the sword does to hit.
That is going to hit.
Awesome. All right. And sorry, I'm adding a short sword now to my stuff.
Gotcha.
That's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
Click things. Since normally I just throw a die on the ground and go to town, but all right. Damage is 5 plus whatever.
The goblin stumbles back a pace, screaming and sort of turning its shoulder away from you as blood weeps down it. Something is wrong with this goblin's blood because the smell like spoiled milk assaults your nostrils.
Still standing?
Yes, still standing.
Bonus action, gonna use the offhand weapon. I think the hand axe is light, yeah?
All right, so generally, it would have taken your stealth would have taken your bonus action. But since that came in after,
I didn't even try. I was just like running in there. I thought it was just a reaction.
Cool. Then yeah, you can use your bonus action to make that second offhand attack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So that's only 11.
That is going to miss the goblin.
Right.
You know, already sort of turning away. It manages to stumble back another half step. And
all right. Before he does, I'm going to use the rest of my movement to go running back into the fog.
Okay. Yeah, it uses its reaction to attack you. So.
Yeah, you already used it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
that's right.
Should be safe. Yeah, so he'll try to run into the fog there and hold the line.
All right.
And that's it.
Nice.
Oh man, I don't think I killed that one. Damn it. They're everywhere.
Next in the order is Lokag. Slightly drunk, and now with a a longsword.
So Lokag is going to stumble his way up to this potions thing, and is the person still in there, or has the vendor fled?
The door slams, and you can hear a bolt of it locking just as you're approaching.
Crud. All right. Well, then that was wasted movement. All right. Then he is going to.
You could attempt to stop them from closing it. I mean,
if I'm close enough, he wants to attempt to stop them from closing it.
Okay. Yeah, I can easily stick your hand, your boot. Just put your hand on the door. It closes. It opens inward. So they're pushing it towards you to close it.
I guess athletics check.
In this case, that's not necessary. They're not aware that anyone's trying to stop it. They're just doing it quickly. You're much stronger than the fortune teller.
I'm gonna grab the door and open it and kind of lean down to look in and say, tiny person, I am drunk. Need to not be.
There's a wizened old elven woman, her silvery hair almost gleaming even in the dust. You're going to get me killed, big man. Go out there and swing that thing.
I'm going to be killed. I will be killed if I am intoxicated. Do you have anything to make me not drunk?
She kind of looks out the window. She turns without letting her hand off the door, and she reaches toward a shelf that is empty, just above the window, going out the other side of her wagon. Someone snatched my potions, she says. She shakes her head. It's gone.
Well, for death and glory then.
Starts pushing the door again, trying to get you to...
He'll let her close it at this point, and he is going to say, I always hate fighting drunk. What is not the first time? And he's gonna go. Look. Well, I guess. So in the dust, he probably doesn't know exactly where the goblins are, or even if they are goblins.
You can hear them. Yeah, you can hear them because you can hear some of them still shouting their chant, "Meat for the masters." You heard one of them screech and die somewhere up here in the dust. And yeah, you can hear this sort of the rushing slapping of their bare feet. It sounds like dozens of them in the northern part of the square, all moving this way. You can hear the shouts of townsfolk as they're accosted, maybe grunting effort as people struggle against the goblins, crying children, barking dogs. It's chaos, but there's certainly goblins, and you certainly know they're to the north.
Well, he is going to rage and for death and glory, and then use the rest of his movement to start moving that way.
Okay. Moving to which way?
If he's with it, up, just going straight up north.
Yeah, you see the shopkeeper's legs disappearing under the table. The goblin sort of peering off in this direction, turns, and obviously struggling to reload its crossbow as you approach. That's a little bit of time, so that's probably your turn after, unless, let's say you've got a bonus action.
Yep.
Oh, you rage.
Rage was my bonus action, but I'm just, yeah. I think that whole interaction, I'm fine counting that as my action. That was a long conversation.
Okay. The next in the order then is Miller. The guards have moved away from you. One of them, the older dwarf, says, "Now hunker down, Millie. Stay out of sight." and they disappear into the dust. Hold up their truncheons and shields to meet this threat. You hear them grunting and slugging it out with the goblins. What does Millie do?
As they move themselves away, Millie is going to head south. I've heard Lokag yelling at this need to be sober.
Yeah, and you also heard Cliff more than you, and maybe heard X a little bit, but you definitely heard Cliff and X tried to shout at them and let everyone know where there were goblins. So you can hear different allies of yours. Get a pretty good idea of the direction.
Alright. I'll move down to Lokag.
Okay.
My 35 feet of movement.
As you back up a little bit, because as you move to here, you see almost too late. That's sneaking up behind that same the candy maker, who's come back out the other side of her booth and is rushing toward Mildred's shop, the Arms and Armor shop. Whoa! Got some extra music there. You realize almost too late that it is a goblin, and they are armed with something. You hear the click of a crossbow as they fire an arrow towards you.
Alright, I literally started right next to them then. That's weird. 18 hits.
You would move, so I wasn't sure. So, like, you're sneaking in between these two tents here.
Okay, I started right there.
Do they get disadvantage for firing in the same, with the person next to them 5 feet away?
Yeah, anything does unless it has the feet. You think it was not until you moved that the goblin saw Millie.
Opportunity. Okay.
All right.
Again, the arrow, you can hear the arrow fracture and shatter as it hits your shoulder. Take a single point of damage.
Alright.
Low budget arrows.
They seem to have poor equipment.
Feeling the arrow break on the shoulder. So getting to Lokag. Lokag, you'll feel a hand, slightly warmth, like a harvest day breeze, and you're no longer feeling poisoned.
Nice.
Oh yes, this is much better.
Very nice.
My action and movement. Actually, for the rest of my movement, I'll go behind Lokag.
Any bonus actions available to you?
I have 0 bonus actions.
Okay. All right, next in the order then is Helena.
Well, she's really not one to go after anything for the kill, especially head on. So I think being where she's at in between these two carts, perhaps upon seeing the goblins, she would like to hide, maybe kind of like hide and sneak attack one of them. I'm gonna ping this guy here. I don't know, bad at pinging. The guy, if I go here, that would be up here to the north.
I don't think you can't, at the moment, hide and make an attack on the same round.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. You need a second level rogue for that. But you can do,
Been a rogue
one
for
of the
too
other.
long.
Right? Yeah.
You're rogue. Next level.
Well, she is not one to attack, like I said, at least not directly. So let's get her back to where she was, and I'd like to just hide in the best place around her.
Okay.
Smart.
Yeah, hunkering down between the lip of the fountain and any of those wagons would probably be a good spot. You could slip underneath.
Yeah.
You could slip underneath the wagons. And,
Under the wagon.
And that might be pretty
Nice.
good too. Yeah, the wagon wheels themselves will, especially on the wagons, the covered wagons. They're larger wheels. They're closer together. It's a little bit more to sort of block anything trying to get in. So let's go ahead and make that. Let's see that stealth check for Helena.
Lokag is off the wagon and you're under the wagon.
18?
Very nice. I heard that, Nick. Awesome. As you dive down underneath the wagon, just in time, the sound of bare feet on stone, rasping in the dust, fills the air as they flood into the square. You hear more cries from townsfolk. Helena, you hear a man shrieking bloody murder. It looks like a cluster of goblins have lifted somebody up on their head and are running back north. Millie, Lokag, you can see a stream of goblins, several, perhaps 7, 8, sort of stream past you, looking towards you, but not seeing you, moving toward those they can hear, the people that are shrieking in fear or, running madly around, wailing in panic. But also, you hear sounds coming from the south. Baba Brune's familiar voice booming out. "Ah, you green whelps! Is that the best you can do? Come, have some of what Baba's cooked up for breakfast." But you hear him grunt. Goblins shrieking and laughing as they're drawn in that direction. You hear the gasp of relief from some villager near the potters as the goblins leave him alone, following after Baba. You can hear them chattering in their own biting, screeching tongue. Just give it a moment. A couple of things in the background to shift around.
That's never good.
Yes, Baba, kill the goblins. Fame and glory.
Good call on that high.
As the goblins get further into the square, darting past, you can hear them moving through the dust. A lot of them though, fall quiet. They don't immediately accost some townsfolk. They hide, moving, attempting stealth. You all can hear some of them, but others you lose track of pretty quickly. Any of you with a knowledge of history reminded of tales of the Firbolg's sappers. They used goblins to undermine walls and fortifications, whole formations. There was also an assassin's squad of, suicidal and religiously, zealous goblins that almost worshipped the Firbolg. Tales of terror of them sneaking into villages or destroying small platoons while they rested. Perhaps no surprise that some of the goblins vanish out of sight. A cluster moves up One you think, Helena, you think maybe looting a fallen villager. The other two move up to the wagon you're on. They don't seem to notice you. They climb on it and start moving through some of the crates. You can hear them laughing and cackling gleefully as they perhaps drop their broken and chipped scimitars and grab these fresh iron-shod clubs. Or pocket loot that they find in others. Now, Cliff, you can definitely hear the cluster that was toward the center, middle of the northern area, move in between the wagons. One of them, actually no, all three of them, moving toward the heavy-set human woman. She gives a fierce shout. You can kind of see the movement of her body. She's likely swinging with one of her hand axes. And the goblins laugh. One of them shrieks as it takes a blow.
Nice.
The others laugh. The woman drops not with a scream, but with a grunt. She drops down among the carpets of her stall and is still. The goblins immediately begin going, looting. And Lokak to the north. Two more goblins come and support, or fall in next to, around, or darting towards you, while the third reloads its crossbow. The two filthy goblins come out of the dust. You can see dust caking to them, caking to their sweat, cracking and almost even falling off as they move, swinging at their legs and knees with clearly bent, notched, and rusted scimitars. This is, let me make that public. 2 scimitar strikes at Lokak. Oh my goodness.
Very, very nice. They will both hit.
That is 1 slashing.
Excellent. Took that.
There's gotta be something wrong. They shouldn't all be rolling ones. Let me check something out real quick. Because that is a little wrong. It's supposed to be a normal roll. -1.
They're all rolling 2s.
Yeah, okay. That's so strange, though. All right, let me try it again.
Yeah, it's doing it. RNGesus, it doesn't like you.
No.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
My
I
goodness.
think you're raging.
That is a total of 13 damage, which would be 6 for you since you're raging.
When I'm raging, if it's 1, I still just take the 1, right?
Right.
Because it's half.
Right,
And
yeah.
round it up.
Right.
Okay.
But those weren't
That's
ones,
right.
they were just misrolls.
It's usually rounded down, but I think,
Yeah, I round down.
ignore
Yeah.
the one.
And then those the crit hit for
7.
7.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 7. He is going to 7. So then I take 3 or 4.
You take
6
3.
total.
Yeah, take 6 total
6 in total.
Mhm.
Okay.
from the arrow and the scimitar.
6 in total. So is that 6 cut in half from the rage?
That's after yeah. So after being half.
okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So got it. That's after being half.
Mhm.
Good. Okay. I wanted to make sure I understood.
Yeah, no
Okay,
problem. No
got it.
problem.
Then I would like to use my do reaction, Stone's Endurance, to try and cut that damage down
Okay.
even further.
Nice.
I don't know. Did it roll?
No.
Oh, I rolled. No.
D12. You need.
Yeah, just 1d12 plus 2. Dang, I thought I had that programmed correctly, but that is okay. I can just do this. That. Well, there's the rolls. Okay, so the first roll I did was 4. It was just coming in late.
So you only take 3 then at the end.
Yes. That is correct.
Awesome.
Finally, Millie, you see the goblin that fired at you sneaking up and hiding behind the table in this stall. Seems to have spotted you, followed you, and is trying to sneak up on you. You see it stop. You see the shape start to emerge from the dust about here. By movement, you think it's sort of looking around and has spotted you. So it cannot take an action. It just sort of hides and moves up into position. You all hear another great shout from Baba Brune. As any of you that know him, he has a massive keg knife that he threatens drunks with. You hear him swinging it. You hear laughing, and in any language you know a taunt from. You hear it from the goblins. The guards, those who are close enough, begin shouting commands to the townsfolk. Get indoors! Move to the south! Go home! They don't seem to be unified. The guards, have no plan for what to do. The city's invaded from within. So, stepping back around to X. Let's see here. Actually, looking at time, I think that I will probably pause here at the top of the order with a
Good
description.
Spot. Yeah.
So, as dust blankets the once bright square, as the hopes of the future are obscured by this terrible moment, as great heroes have fled the square onto perhaps more important things, it is left to the townsfolk to defend. Perhaps the new heroes will be found here in Market Square, Arabelle. But why these goblins are here, who sent them, and what exactly can be done about them, we'll have to find out in sessions ahead on Goblinstone.
Dun-dun-dun.
Everybody, thank you so much for being here. This has been super fun. I'm super excited for next session. A lot of times we'll sort of check in and talk about the session after. I think we don't have to do anything official, but just maybe go around and see anybody's thoughts on the session. If there's high points, yes, just real briefly, a few words. Pon, how about you? Any notes on the session?
Oh gosh. This was so vibrant and colorful of a scene and so much fun to play. And after, from behind the scenes note of how long it's taken for us to get to this point, it feels really amazing to finally be playing this game. I think everybody really brought it tonight, and I wanted to thank everyone for that because, this is just wonderful. I wish I had better verbiage for it, but I had a great time, and I'm more excited to explore Helena's wacky self. She's pulling things out of me I didn't know were there already, so that was fun.
Heck yeah. Nick, how about you? Any thoughts?
Oh yeah, I mean, I mirror the sentiments. What a privilege to play among all you great people. This was really fun. I think everyone brought their game, so awesome. Moments that I remember, I mean, just the idea of us all being sort of thrown together and squeezed in and surrounded by goblins at this point is pretty exciting. As heroes are made, not born kind of situation. So I'm excited. I'm kind of on the edge of my seat, and I don't know what's going to happen. So this is fun.
Excellent. Heck yeah. Bri, how about you? Any thoughts for you on the night? Anything stand out?
Yeah, getting to use my strength right away in a contest, and I am ready to smash some goblin skulls on our next session.
I love the accent. I love the voice, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, heck yeah. All right, heck yeah. DL, how about you, Mr. Locator?
Yeah, as everybody else is saying, it's great to finally be here. You know, in the moment with these characters, and so yeah, it's your combats are always so interesting. So there's like a straightforward element to it, but there's also like, okay, nobody can see anything. Nobody knows where any of these goblins are. They're coming from everywhere. It definitely lends a feeling of like more danger to a level 1 encounter for sure.
Hopefully that's a good thing.
Yeah. And it started out as such a lovely spring day.
Right? It was such a lovely day. And here come the dust goblins, like always. Excellent. How about you, Jay Fink? Any thoughts for you?
Yeah, it was a very good session. Like everyone else, it's been long in the making, so very excited to see it all come together, and then enjoyed all the little tidbits from all the characters of the X, getting this kind of information of something's happening, and Cliff getting his wondrous firearm. Still not sure what he's doing with it. Should be fun. And Helena, finally making that other storekeeper realize maybe she knows what she's doing with these rat pelts, and then Loka getting that one on the drinking. Yeah, it was just I was like, well, that's gonna be a thing. I suppose I could burn all of my lay on hands to solve that later if possible. So
not a bad idea.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Symbiotic, right?
Yeah, that was a good decision.
He looks the biggest. Next time I'll find a weapon. I don't have anything in this character.
Well, fortunately, they are everywhere, so heck yeah. Yeah, for my part, I love all y'all's characters. This has been really fun, so I look forward to getting to know them. For those of you watching, we have some things we're doing in the works. We're going to be slowly improving things, shaping things up around here as we go. And so we're working on some little character stingers where, like, when we go on break or before the game starts, when we're leaving, we'll have little videos and, some other stuff in the works to keep it fun and keep it interesting. And also getting better at transitioning back to the larger cameras on us. There we go. All right. And yeah, I'm just really excited. Thank you all for being here, to both to play and to watch. Those of viewers who are helping us out, getting the tech stuff dialed in. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Y'all have a great week. Let's see, what else did I have? Let's see here. Yeah, like I said, we'll sort of be slowly changing and improving things as we go. So look forward to more excitement, shenanigans in game, more visual improvements, more information, and stuff like that. About the players. And yeah, we'll see you all next week for Mythlander's Goblin Stone. Thank you all. Take good care. Make sure you get some rest this week. And I'll see some of you in game, and some of you next week on screen. Say bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Oh.